Got a little flea market haul and eBay package in, and I found something from my childhood, if you will. That was kind of cool. All right. So first thing is when I was a kid, and this had to have been like 78, 79, in the last century. Met Darth Vader. He was at a car show. Not so much a car show, but like a car dealership. It's called Ramey's now. I don't know if it was Ramey's back then. But they had a guy dressed up like Darth Vader, and when you're a little kid, you're like, it's Darth Vader. It's good enough. You knew it wasn't, but, it's kind of like meeting Santa Claus. You just went with it, because, you get to say you met him, and it's close enough. And, had this picture that he autographed for me since then. And, it was kind of cool to open up and find this. Actually, my ex-wife found this way back when I was married, and she framed it, so I thought that was kind of sweet at the time. So, yeah. So, this picture has drawings on the back where I drew on it. This big scribble up here, right here, that's his alien language of how he autographed it. And it was really cool, man, because I remember there was tons of people there, man, and the teenagers at the time and stuff, they were unrolling these big, huge Star Wars posters that I would love to find now, because they weren't movie posters. You just had to have been there, because I can vaguely remember them, but I was just sitting there like, there's posters? Oh my God. And the other thing, I think I found this at a flea market in Abingdon, Virginia, or somewhere like that, or maybe North Carolina. I don't know. I've been all over the place. But I think the guy that drew this was William George. There's a guy who has a channel called Comic Hoarder 410. He knows another artist who also worked on this brand of toys and stuff. And back in the day, I never really thought about these people as artists. It's kind of cool that as long as I've been doing this, there's still so much to learn and to figure out and stuff like that. But I found this and thought it was so cool. I've never taken this out of the frame. It came in the frame, and I've recently found it. And I've kept an eye out this for years and stuff. But yeah, it's Masters of the Universe art. Just love it too. Just love it, love it, love it. So I was glad to find that too. Okay. So Sunday, I was just sitting around the house and decided that I resigned my job a few weeks ago. Got a severance package, and I've lived it up here in the last week or two. Just get the break and stuff. And I was sitting around that house on Sunday, and kind of like looked on Facebook, just playing around, and there's this page that I'm on. There's a page that I'm a member of that comes up. And this guy says that over here in Withville, at a place called A1 Flea Market, he's got 7 boxes of comics that he's selling. He's been through them, and I know who this guy is and stuff. And he goes to estate sales and all this stuff. And it turns out he found a storage bin, and I think he bid on it. And this is what he found. He found 7 boxes of comics and stuff. So I get off, I get straight off of there, off the internet, and I get dressed, and I get in my car, and I run out there, and the guy's closed on Sundays and Mondays, so he was open today. So I went to town, went by the workforce and all this stuff, and, after I went there, I picked up a small haul here, and I'm talking myself to death. These were $2 a piece, but I still got a little bit of a deal out of them. He shaved off, I don't know, $4 maybe, I don't know. And I was really surprised because, when I saw this guy a couple of years ago, he did not like me. I mean, he just laid eyes on me and the girl I was dating at the time, and he was all sweet on her, and he could not stand me. Sitting here, he was sitting there insulting me. Don't even know the guy. He's sitting there insulting me right in front of her. I'm just kind of like, what? So he was really nice today. Okay. So anyway, got these. This is Unlimited Access, number 1. This is the 3rd miniseries from DC and Marvel coming together. That it started out with the DC versus Marvel, and that led to the Amalgam Universe Wave 1. Then they came out with Access, All Access, or something like that. That was also a 4-issue miniseries, and then the second wave of Amalgam Comics came out of that. And this was the 3rd one. Now this is the one they didn't have a wave of Amalgam Comics. What is in here is what is in here. It's Al Williamson, not Al Williamson. I don't know if it's Al Williamson, but it's Carl Kessel, Pat Olaf, and it's got a guy named Williamson who's inking it, who I assume is the legend Al Williamson. I don't know. But this is the one you get just for fun. It was 4 issues. Carl Kessel was hot back then because he was doing a Daredevil run. This is from '97. And this is one where I would just say get for the fun of it. You know, it plays with time and the DC and Marvel heroes. It ended up having like, at the end of this, he ends up landing in Days of Future Past, and Sentinels attack him, and then one blows up. You know, you can tell it's magnetic powers. You find out it's the Legion of Superheroes are there, you know, and all this stuff. But this was just fun. But this is number 1. I now have all 4 issues of it. Found this, glad to have this. This is all 4 issues. This is probably like my 3rd copy of number 1, and maybe 2nd or 3rd copy of number 2. But the Preacher Saint of Killers miniseries, number 1, number 2, Garth Ennis, Steve Pugh, Glenn Farby covers. Great stuff. I'm hoping, I've read this in trade, I think, and I think this is the story where you get the origin of the Saint of Killers. And he's a cowboy, and he got killed, he went to hell, and he was so cold and emotionless that as he walked, he froze hell behind him, and Satan just said, get the hell out. It's number 3 and number 4. Just got badass. Clint Eastwood. Found these. I was very happy to see these. Preacher was this, number 17. You know, the book's gotten hot because of the TV show coming, but I'd say these are worth $3 or $4 a piece. I mean, you know, it's the 1, 2, and probably 3 are the ones that are worth money. But this, I'm here for the story. This is the story, I think, of how Jesse Custer got his dad's lighter. You know, you hear the story here, man. This was so good. I think it says "fuck communism" on it or something. Preacher number 18. Number 19, starting off a new story arc. And that's what was so good about, you know, the combination that comics used to have before I show them. Like, this is an epilogue of a story arc, right? So when the story arc was over, you would get a single issue, just kind of breathe. Sometimes it was funny, it was a different tone. Sometimes it would rip your heart out. Sometimes, you know, it was just a filler issue. And we get, you know, the big story of the Preacher still advances with a little breather before they went on to Crusaders and started another arc. So here's number 19 and number 20. And that's what a lot of comics are missing, man. It's just one event after the other, and let's go, let's go, let's go. Nobody gets to breathe. You don't get to enjoy the stories. And I grabbed these. I mean, they're not worth much, but this is X-Force number 47. I got both copies because it has a Deadpool. I'm going to put a little Deadpool lot back on eBay. I always do well with those. I got 2 copies of it. This is my 2nd copy of X-Force number 15, maybe my 3rd. Excuse me, because it has Deadpool. And I was real happy to find this, Bone number 19. And I was looking at this. I was putting my comic books on Comic Book Database last night. And I was going through, and I have issue 20 of Bone. And I was like, man, it'd be nice to have a number 19. I kind of got into it, and there it was. I was like, oh my God, and it's a first print. So, you know. And then I could not believe this. This is, I cannot believe this is 20 years old, because I remember seeing this on a spinner rack at CVS Pharmacy. And I think it was still called Rexall back then. And I passed it up, and it was there for a month. And I'd go back again, walk down to the mall, it'd spin around, there it was. Oh man, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, what's wrong with the Flash? Another speedster? I mean, I was just, you know, we had Wally, we had Barry, and I'm like, oh man. But of course, I was stupid, and I was wrong, because it's Mark Waid and Ringo. And I was like, I need to get this, because all of a sudden the book was hot, and I went back, and it was gone that 3rd month. So last year I found a copy of it for like 25 cents. Mark Waid signed it for me at Heroes Con, and then I find another one, you know, and I'm like, yes. So I go back. And then what I got off of eBay, I'm really happy with, because when this book came out, don't take my word on it, came out in 2009, and it seems like it's $50 or something like that. You know, I was like, well, I can't, but I loved, you know, you'll see who it is, you'll know why I loved it. And I always kept an eye out for it. And just on a whim, about a week ago, I was playing around on eBay. I was thinking about putting some comics on there, so I was just searching around. I was like, I wonder if that's on there. There it was, $9.99, used but like new condition, $10. And the thing came a day early, and it was packed well. Here's the packaging, you know. I mean, it was packed well, nice box. And it was this. And I'm probably going to do a whole video on some of my extra Watchmen stuff. This is called Watchmen Portraits. Okay, you can see how big it is. Here's a comic book to compare it to. And this is a black and white photo. It's not an ink wash drawing or anything like that. And Clay Enos was his name, but he was allowed, he was like the photographer on the Watchmen movie lot. And I think he took some of the pictures and designed some of the stuff you see in the movie. I'm not going to go into it, and when I make a video of this book, I'll do a little bit more research, and because I don't know a whole lot about it, but this is just photographs that he did. And the reason I love this is that this is like everybody that was on set that he just kind of grabbed while they were in costume. These are the extras and the characters in the background. And Watchmen was a period piece. Okay, that's what you got to remember. It was from the 40s to the 80s. Seems like it might have touched on the 30s a little bit. I don't know. But to get in there and you get to see the detail that the costumes did and the props did. That's Jackie Earl Haley, as Walter Kovacs, and there's the beans Rorschach was eating when Dan Dryberg walked into his house and thought he had a robber. Just got up there, there's some more of them. But yeah, just you can go back and look at the detail, and the black and white is just awesome, and the white background, there's something about it, it's pretty good. See, I would have went with, here's what the actor who played Dr. Manhattan looked like. Those dots, if you know anything about movie effects, and I just know because I've watched extras on DVDs, those were tracking marks for the computer for when they go back and Manhattan them up. Yeah, here's another one. And to have that double-breasted three-piece suit on, to see it on film after seeing it in the comic for so long, Watchmen number 3, when you go back and look it up, it's just amazing for me to see. But here's the heroes that are in it. It has a bibliography in the back of it where all the pictures are shrunk down and it says who the actor is. So, and that was my favorite. That was the one I was looking for when I got in there. The David Bowie, Mick Jagger kind of wannabes. That's in the intro of the movie. So yeah, I'm real happy to have that. Okay. So that's it for this video. There will be more coming. So yeah, later guys.